Hey guys, I'm Andrew Henderson from Nomad Capitalist, nomadcapitalist.com. In today's video, I want to share a classic story that you've probably heard before and remind you just how much money you are paying, how much money you are giving away, how much wealth you are forsaking by staying in a high-tax country, running your business in a high-tax country, investing in cryptocurrencies, equities, forex, whatever else in a high-tax country, and show you why using the kind of strategies we talk about at Nomad Capitalist are so important. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in quite a while. This guy has a big mathematics background. His big kind of geeky thing is he loves prime numbers. And we got together, hadn't talked in a couple of years actually, and we started talking about, interesting enough, compound interest. He was talking about how he's growing his business and how quickly he's turning his capital back over and putting it back into the company. This is a story I hear from a lot of people who are running businesses and they want to invest back into the business, but they can't do it fast enough. And one of the biggest reasons that I see that people are slowed down is tax. And so we actually talked about a story. We both grew up in the United States and we both heard this story as kids, where if you take a penny and you double it every day, you'll end up at the end of 1 month with actually a lot of money. It would surprise people who don't understand the power of compound interest. And so you may remember there were different versions of the stories that I recall in elementary school, in middle school, about how if you take a penny a day and double it, would you rather have that result or would you rather have $1,000 up front? And as you know, the penny a day doubled starts off slow. It starts off, day one, it's 1 cent. Day two, it's 2 cents, then 4 cents. By day 8, you've got barely $1. But if you fast forward each day, eventually you cross the $1,000 mark, the $10,000 mark. And at the end of that 30 days, you actually end up with over $5.3 million just by doubling those pennies. If you don't take any money out, you double those pennies. And so this is the kind of story that a lot of people I help actually tell me is that they have businesses that require inventory, whether it's on Amazon, Shopify, whatever. They're investing in cryptocurrencies and they want to put all of their money into cryptocurrencies and into crypto trading to keep growing it. A lot of people that I talk to have a shortage of available cash. And they're running this same kind of simulation in their own real lives where they're just doubling money as quickly as they can. Well, the interesting thing that they never talked about when we were in school, because they never talk about this topic, is taxes. Chances are you didn't learn much about taxes when you went to school, but they just kind of are there and they have real life impact. And so what's interesting, if you take 35% tax rate, relatively standard, probably even low tax rate on the whole for anyone who lives in the US, Canada, Australia, UK. If you take a 35% tax rate and you take that out as a capital gains tax of every day's penny doubling, you actually come out with a lot less money at the end of 30 days. So 1 penny doubles to 2 pennies, but we're gonna take 1/3 of a cent, 35% of that day's gains. Then 2 cents to 4 cents, we're gonna take 35% of that 2 cent gain. And every time you take out the gains, and then the next day, you just go and double what you have left. So the first day you have 1, it goes to 2, then you're at 1.65, so you get double that. Then you take out the tax on the gain, then you double that, double that, double that. So without any tax, with 0% tax, just with the normal laws of compound interest, the way nature intended it, you get to $5.3 million. If you take it to 35% every day and you consequently have that much less to reinvest, that much less to be doubled, you end up with just over $20,000 at the end of those 30 days. That's a big delta, right? 20,000 to 5.3 million. A lot of people don't understand just how much they're paying. Now, obviously in the real world, things don't work so cleanly that you double your money every day or in any other one unit, whether it's every month, every year, every decade, right? Hopefully you're doubling your money every decade. But the reality is that whether you run a cash flow business, money that just spits off cash and it just keeps coming through your own efforts, or whether you run a business that constantly requires reinvestment, if you're paying tax on that money, you're going to end up with a lot less wealth. And so whether that means that the business grows a lot slower and earns less income, and can consequently be sold for less in the future, or whether you are in the position that I've often been in, where you just have businesses that churn off cash, it goes into your personal bank account, you invest it, and you just end up with less wealth when you want to quit, when you want to retire, to pass on to your family, whatever. The difference is really stunning. And so, if you looked and said, hey, I'm running an Amazon business, and I can double my money every year by turning that money back over into stock. After 30 years of running that Amazon business, which, okay, you probably won't be running an Amazon business in 30 years, but after 30 years of running any kind of business where you can double your money every year, you'd have a pretty substantial profit. I mean, it would be pretty astronomical. But if you're staying in the US and Australia and Canada, in wherever, and paying those huge taxes, money that you don't really get back, money that you just never see again, then the returns are much less substantial. And so this is why it's interesting. No matter where I go in the world, people tend to, basically spend what they earn, even if you're doing pretty well for yourself. I knew a guy in Denmark who was making about 350,000 euros a year. Now, that's not huge money, but it's a pretty good salary. And at the end of the year, he had nothing left, because he had to pay the high taxes, which are higher because his salary is high. He had to pay the cost of living to do the in thing, to have the Audi SUV, to have the house in the right neighborhood, to have his wife look good, the way she wanted. He ended up with nothing. There are people who, travel the world, make $25,000 a year and end up with nothing. This guy made many, many times more than that. And so it's interesting that when you live in an environment where you're tied to the social restrictions, like you have to buy the Audi to fit in, because that's just what you do when you make that kind of money. And when you add in the taxes, it's amazing how a lot of people don't really end up with that much at the end of the game. When if you remove yourself from that situation where you have the social constructs, as well as take that tax down to 0 or 5%, you will have, over a lifetime, probably millions, if not tens of millions of dollars in extra money. That's the power of this compound interest. The power they don't tell you about, the power of sucking out that compound interest, is tax, and there are legal ways for you to reduce that. Do understand what it's costing you over a lifetime, not only in annual income, but based on the future value of your business, based on what you'll pass down to your kids. Over a lifetime and over generations, it's going to be a lot of money. Now, if you want to find out more about these concepts, how you can legally go offshore, how you can reduce your tax, there are different ways for different people depending on what kind of business you're in, but we cover a lot of it at nomadcapitalist.com. So we definitely recommend that you check out the website. You can also subscribe to our channel. Make sure that you do that before you leave, because we've got lots of great videos on how to live the lifestyle of a global citizen, of a nomad capitalist, to have more money, create wealth faster, and to create the freedom lifestyle that you want. So check out the website and subscribe, and thanks for watching.